Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Great to see you there. Well, a little bit of advice for you. Without sales, business fails. As you grow your business, the only way that you can grow your business is through making sales. And as you develop your skill sets in product delivery, in service delivery, you also have to be able to learn how to sell professionally. What I learned is that in business, we have what's called a rule of three. And there's got to be three things that you're very good at when you're building your business. The first thing that you have to do really, really well is you've got to be able to sell yourself. You've got to be able to sell yourself. Once you're able to sell yourself, then you have to effectively sell your products and services. So in business, you've got to remember, without sales, business fails. You could have the best product, but if you can't sell it, nobody will buy it. You could have the cure for cancer, but if you can't sell the idea, sell the concept to other people, you'll never be able to save lives. So without sales, business fails. And today our topic of conversation is, how do you win sales now? See that one there? I wrote a book called How to Win Sales Now, and you can actually download it for free today. So if you want to get a free copy of my book, Win Sales Now, go to my website, www.winsalesnow.com. You'll be able to get your free book there. I'll also post up the link in the chat box. So when you start your business, you've got to learn how to sell, and you have to sell to survive. To be able to generate income into your business, you have to be able to make sales. You have to be able to make a lot of sales because a business is expensive. You've got taxes, you've got operating expenses, you've got wages, you've got outgoing, you've got your systems and processes, you've got development. It takes a lot to make a business work, and you've got to be able to increase your sales. So when I started business, I learned there was three very important things to do as a coach. I had to be able to speak, I had to be able to sell, and then I had to be able to coach. And I had to talk about my products in a way that captured people's attention. I had to capture people's attention because every single day you've got about 90,000 thoughts going through your mind, and I've got to be able to capture your attention. You have to be able to do the same thing. Your client has about 90,000 thoughts going through their mind every day, and you've got to break their attention. You've got to break through what they're thinking about, and you've got to capture their attention. Once you capture their attention, you've got to gain their interest in what you're doing. You've got to get their attention from over there to over there on you. And then once you capture their attention, you've got to be able to build up desire. Now, there's two driving forces here. There's the emotion of desire and the emotion of fear. Now, the interesting thing is that we all want things, but desire has a motivational force of 1, where the emotion of fear has a driving force of 2.5. What does that mean? People don't want things. People want to avoid things. People are more concerned about getting hit with a big bad stick than having a carrot dangled in front of their face. And for you to be able to win sales now, you've got to be able to capture people's attention. You have to create interest. You have to be able to create desire. And once you've done that, you've got to call for action. You have to call for them to do something. So if you want to learn how to increase your sales, then what I'd do is I'd go to my website and download my free book, How to Win Sales Now. So it's a free download. I've got the link on the ticker below, and I've also put the link in the chat box. So what I want you to do now is I want you to say hello. Let me know where you're joining me from. My good friend Kerry Ann Reynolds. Great to see you there. It's been a long time, and as soon as COVID disappears, I want to come back to the UK. I want to do another event in the UK. I want to bring Ninny with me. I want to bring Caesar with me, and I want to bring Cup Noodles with me. It's time to come back to the UK. So wonderful to see you there. So ladies and gentlemen, say hello. We're going to be talking about sales today. Say hello. Type your name in the chat box below. Let me know where you're coming from. If you're joining me on the replay, make sure you download your free copy of How to Win Sales Now. It's a free download. And today we're going to talk about identifying the problem. What you've got to be able to become really good at is identifying problems. All of your customers have problems. And If they have a problem, they're looking for a solution. So the first thing that you've got to be able to do really well is you've got to be able to identify people's problems. So what I say in the book, Win Sales Now, is when it comes to sales, identifying problems is an important place to start. Now, what I mean by this is that anytime a customer buys a product, they're doing so for only one reason, and that is to solve a problem. So you have to become problem aware. You have to be constantly listening out for the problems that your customers have. So people are problem aware. People wake up in the morning and go, oh, fuck, I got a sore back. They don't wake up in the morning and say, I need a shot of opioids. I need some Panadol. They don't say, I need some Panadine for it. They say, fuck, I got a sore back. You're going to become very problem aware. What is the problem that your client has? Lorraine Lowe from Kuala Lumpur. Great to see you there. Thank you for joining us today. And I wish you all the best as your country goes through the second MCO. I know the first one was tough. The second one's going to be tougher, but you will get through this. And I hope you and your family are safe. So people are problem aware. So I want you to think about where you're sitting right now. Maybe you're sitting there, maybe you're on your mobile device. And what happens here is all devices, all products, and all services are designed to solve a problem. The problem is we can't see each other face to face today. You're over there and I'm over here. And what technology can do, such as a phone, is it can solve that problem. See, the mobile telephone solves the problem of communication. How do I communicate with somebody on the other side of the world like that? Well, the mobile phone solves that problem. The other thing is I want to start to see people. I just don't want to hear them. I want to see people. So what they do is they build apps and they build devices and they put technology into mobile phones to solve the problem. You just don't want to hear the person. You want to be able to also see that person. CL Tay from Malaysia. Good afternoon. I hope you're doing well. And if this is the first time on the live stream, thanks for joining us. What you can do, CL, is you can go over to my website, winsalesnow.com, and you can download yourself a copy of my new book, How to Win Sales Now. So there's a problem, and what your job is, you have to solve that problem for your customer. Now, salespeople who have superior knowledge of their product and an in-depth understanding of their prospect, that's the person who's going to become your future customer. They start out as a suspect, they then become a prospect, and then they become a customer. And you've got to be able to understand what's happening in their world at the moment. And then you've got to show them a unique way in which your products and services can solve one of their problems. And this is how we start the sales process. So I want to share with you a couple of key questions. These are questions that you need to be able to ask yourself as you're preparing for the sales cycle. And if you're not prepared, it's like going out into the open field and just shooting your gun at anything, hoping that something's going to run into your bullet. What you've got to do is you've got to create a clear target. And then you've got to be able to create a clear target, and you've got to be able to see what that target looks like, what it sounds like, what it feels like. And it's only once you can see the target, then you should start to pull the trigger. So 80% of your success in sales is going to come from very effective preparation. We say that in sales, all salespeople who fail have insufficient planning. And this session today is designed for you to have more effective planning and for you to be able to essentially win sales now. So if you're joining me live here on the live stream right now, you can go to my website, winsalesnow.com, and you can download this free book. It's a great book, lovely book, and it'll really help you launch your business. If you've already launched your business, it'll also help you improve your sales process and optimize your sales process. If you're selling $10,000 worth of products a week, why wouldn't you want to sell $15,000? If you're selling $100,000 a month, why wouldn't you want to sell $500,000 a month? This book will solve the problem of how you get from $100,000, how you get to $500,000, and then beyond. So selling is a psychology, and this is the psychology of selling. A lot of great ideas in there. So the first thing, as you discover what your customer's problem is you've got to start to ask some good questions. here's the first question. The first question you need to ask is, what is the problem or pain point your ideal customer wants to solve? This is the first question. I'm going to put this up in the chat box, and I want you to be able to answer this question. I want you to go ahead and type in the chat box below right now. Do it right now on the live stream. This is free coaching. I charge businesses $750 an hour for this advice, and you can have it free today. And if you respond in the chat box, I'll also respond personally, and I'll help critique your work, and I'll help you fine-tune it so you can win sales now. Why not? So the first question is, what is the problem or pain point your ideal customer wants to solve? So, for example, if we're talking about how to win sales now, what's the problem? The problem for my ideal customer right now is that they have low sales. Maybe even they have no sales. So I've got to think about, what's this pain point? If they have low sales, they're going to have problems with cash flow. If they're having problems with cash flow, the next question is, how long can they keep the doors open of their business? Will they make enough sales to survive? So I have to start to think about, what are these pain points that my ideal customer wants to solve? So I've posted the question up in the chat box. What is the problem or pain point your ideal customer wants to solve? So I want you to start to think in terms of pain. Why do I want you to think in terms of pain? Daniel, why would you do such a thing? Well, what happens when you go to the doctor? The doctor does an examination. And what does the doctor say to you? Where does it hurt? Now, doctors are pretty smart. They go to university for 7 years, and they come out the other side fully trained to be a doctor to save your life. I'm a doctor of sales. I'm going to help you save your financial life by asking you a question. Where does it hurt? What is the problem, or what is the pain point your ideal customer wants to solve? So, Carrie Ann, the problem for my ideal customer now is lack of time freedom. So you've got to ask yourself the question, Carrie Ann, do they wake up in the morning and say, I've got a lack of time freedom? What is the problem? And so this is where we have to now take this, and because you're NLP trained, Carrie Ann, we've got to chunk down on it. What is the problem, or what is the pain point? So we understand that they have a lack of time, and we want to get really specific on that. Where do you have a lack of time? How does it get in your way? What does it prevent you from doing? So the question is, what is the problem or pain point your ideal customer wants to solve? As we chunk down a little bit here, Carrie Ann, on your customer's problem is a lack of time. Good. So a lack of time where specifically? And so I want you to chunk right down on that. Where do they have a lack of time? Is it a lack of time with their family in the morning? Is it a lack of time in the morning so they can have time on themselves? Is it a lack of time in the morning for prospecting? Is it a lack of time in business to be able to effectively manage, coach, or lead their team? Is it enough time in the business to follow up inquiry at the end of the day? Is it enough time to get home and watch Neighbours or Home and Away? Where is it specifically where they don't have enough time? Now, the interesting thing, Carrie Ann, what happens here is, if you can accurately identify your customer's pain point, this is very important, ladies and gentlemen. If you can accurately identify your customer's pain point and they look at it and say, that's my problem, you become the automatic authority. You want me to repeat that for you? If you can accurately identify your client's problem or pain point and you spell it out to them, they say, yes, that's my problem. And you become the automatic authority. By you identifying their pain or their problem, they assume that you have a solution for them. Imagine that. This is your problem. That's the problem. Yes, that's my problem. You become the automatic authority. And what they do then is they assume you can solve the problem. Excellent. So as Carrie Ann chunks down here and we get more specific, it prevents the customer from spending time with their family. Excellent. And so what we want to do now, Carrie Ann, we want to ask the second question. So once we understand what is the problem or pain point of the ideal customer, what we want to do is we want to ask them the second question. Now, the second question is, how does this make them feel? Why do we ask this question? Why do we ask, how does it make them feel? because the first question is logical, and now we've got to make it emotional. We have to emotionalize it. Remember, all decisions are made in the right brain, in the emotional brain, and we want to get them to feel what it feels like to have this pain point. So the next question is, Kerry Ann, how does this problem make them feel? What does it make them feel? And we're going to start to emotionalize this now. So for my customers, I'll give you an example here. My customers say, Daniel, I don't know where my next customer is coming from, and I'm worried if I'm going to make enough money to survive. So they don't know where the next customer is coming from. That's the problem. Where's my next customer coming from? Where's my next customer coming from? Where are the leads coming from? And then they say, I'm worried about my survival. In terms of the hierarchy of needs, survival's right down on the bottom here. If they can't make sales, now they fear for their survival. And so when we figure out that they're fearing for their survival, all of a sudden we've emotionalized this problem. Ladies and gentlemen, do you find this fascinating? This is the psychology of selling, and this is where you've got to start. You've got to understand what their problem is. So we always ask the first question, what is the problem or pain point your ideal customer wants to solve? Now, people pay me $750 an hour to ask them these questions. You should just answer these questions in the chat box below and enjoy the free coaching. And what you'll do is, as you understand your customer better, immediately you'll get results. Immediately you'll increase your sales results. So what is the problem or pain point your ideal customer wants to solve? Second question is, how does it make them feel? Having this problem, as I mentioned before, my customers will say, I don't know where my next customer is coming from. The next thing is they start to worry about their survival. Am I going to make enough money to survive? It's a very primitive feeling, and it's emotional. We start to emotionalize this problem, and they start to think. And once you can talk to them at this level and you understand how they think, what their problems are and how they feel, and you can describe this to them, boom, you become the automatic authority. Kerry Ann, good job, sweetheart. I love that you're interacting here. Thank you. It makes them feel resentful and a lack of motivation. Beautiful. So what you start to do now, Kerry Ann, is you start to talk to them at the level of their problem. So mums and dads, I know for you that you're not getting enough time with your children. You're not having enough time to spend with your family. And you start to resent yourself. You start to resent this situation, and you start to lose your motivation in your role as a mother or a father. Now, if they're the key words, and if that's how they make them feel, Kerry Ann, boom, you become the automatic authority in this area. You become the expert. It doesn't matter who wrote the book, Eat That Frog. It doesn't matter who's Tony Robbins is. It doesn't matter anymore. You have said and help them identify what their problem is. You've emotionalized it. And what happens now, Kerry Ann, is they lean forward. They lean forward and say, you know what my problem is. You know how it makes me feel. I'm feeling resentful. Next, how can you help me? Beautiful. Olive, great to see you there. Olive, I believe this is the first time you've joined me here on the live stream. Say hello, let me know where you're from, and make sure you download. I've got to do the other way. Make sure you download the book, How to Win Sales Now. It's a free download. You'll really, really enjoy it. Okay, Malaysia, beautiful. Last time I was in Malaysia was earlier on this year. The time before that, very special place for me because my wife sent me 7 text messages. She said, husband, I'm a little bit panicked. And I said, what's wrong? She said, I think I'm pregnant. And then she sent me 5 photos of 5 positive pregnancy tests. That was back in 2012. But in total, I've been to Malaysia about 20 times. My grandfather used to live up all the way up the top in Butterworth. And he took me up to Penang on my first trip to Malaysia, probably in around about 1990. And we came over and we experienced the Tolson Festival. Beautiful, beautiful place. And not pleasant memories, but nightmares from Tolson, where they were putting the spears through their mouth and the spears through their tongue and the big rings through their nose. Wild, but memorable. So the first question is, what is the problem or pain point You've always got to think in terms of the problem. People are problem aware. People don't wake up in the morning and go, wow, this is the solution. They don't do that. They wake up and they say, I've got this fucking problem and I got to get rid of it. I'm not swearing, by the way. This is what they say. It's not my language. It's theirs. The second question is you've got to understand, how does this make the customer feel? And so you've got to emotionalize this. Now, the third thing, and this is very, very important. As you know, I train NLP, and we're getting now into the area of what we call quantum linguistics. This is quantum linguistics. This will accelerate and multiply your sales results. Once you understand this, your competition, I don't care who they are, they won't be able to keep up with you. The only way they'll know what to do is if they're also watching the live stream. So the second thing is you've got to understand how it makes them feel. The third thing is, what words and phrases do they use to describe their problem? This is fascinating. When you can repeat the customer's words and phrases and use the exact words and phrases they use to describe their problem, boom, you become the automatic authority. As soon as they hear you repeat the words that they say to themselves, bang, automatic authority. They lean towards you and they say, you're speaking my language. This is exactly what I say to myself. If you can say it that clearly, you must have a solution to my problem. Are you with me, ladies and gentlemen? How to win sales now. This is the psychology of selling. And if you don't have a copy of the book, download your free copy now. Because once you start to put these strategies into your business, your sales results are going to explode. And I know if you're watching this now, it's because you probably don't know where your next customer is coming from. You're probably worried if you're going to make enough money to survive. If you're in Australia right now, you're probably worried about where your next customer is coming from and if you can make enough sales to survive. If you're in Malaysia, you're probably worried about where your next customer is coming from and if you're going to make enough money to survive. If you're in the UK, you're probably worried about where your next customer is coming from and you're probably worried if you're going to make enough money to survive. And if that feels like you're in the right place, because we're going to learn how to win sales now. So the third question is, what words and phrases do they use to describe this problem, this particular problem? And so think about it. My customers say to me, Daniel, I don't know where my next customer's coming from, and I'm worried if I'm going to make enough money to survive. So when I repeat those words in that order and sequence, they respond immediately and they say, that's my problem. And automatically, they assume I can help them. And that's why I wrote the book, Win Sales Now, to help good people like you make more sales. Alyssa, great to see you there. Hope you're all doing well in the UK. Absolutely. You got to put yourself in their shoes. This is also called empathy. I wrote another book. I have another book called Sales IQ, and it's about selling with emotional intelligence. And the best sales people in the world, the best business people in the world are the people with the highest levels of empathy. And it's exactly what Alyssa's saying here. Put ourselves in their shoes. And if you can put yourself in their shoes, they say, you get me, you feel me. Feeling, it's emotional, and that's emotional intelligence. That's empathy. We also call it social awareness. Olive, excellent. I hear you. Mirror talk, beautiful. We're going to talk a lot about that further when we go into Win Sales Now, because we'll also talk about how you build instant rapport. And what you've said here, mirroring their words on the money, we call it quantum linguistics. So for those of you who are joining me, please say hello. Let me know where you're joining me from. Say hello. Tell me what business you're in. And if you'd like to make more sales, also give me a thumbs up in the chat box below. So first question is, what is the problem or pain point your ideal customer wants to solve? That's really important. You're a specialist and you're going to specialize in solving people's problems. The second question is, how does that problem make them feel? You're going to emotionalize it. You're going to get them to feel it. If they don't feel it, they're going to do nothing about it. And then thirdly, you're going to ask the question, what words and phrases do they use to describe their problem? So listening closely to my clients, people like you, they say, Daniel, I don't know where my next customer is coming from. I don't know if I'm going to make enough money to survive. Excellent. Olive, thumbs up. Excellent. So There's not just 3 questions, ladies and gentlemen. There's a 4th question. Now, I'm going to post the 4th question up in the comment box below, and this is one that you have to think about. You can't expect your client to know the answer to this. You have to help them calculate on this question. So the question you need to ask your client is, what is the financial cost of not solving this problem? So you already know what the problem is. You've identified the problem. You know how it makes them feel. You understand the words and phrases that they use to describe the problem. I don't know where my next customer's coming from, and I'm worried if I'm going to make enough money to survive. Now what you've got to do is you've got to calculate the financial cost of not solving this problem. So I was working with a customer. Customer was overseas, and they rang me and they said, Daniel, we have a lot of disengagement in our business. And I said, you've got a lot of disengagement. And they said, yes, we have a lot of disengagement. I said, well, let me ask you this question. How many people do you have working for you? And they said 80. I said, good. Get your calculator out. And I said, type 80 in to the calculator. And they said, well, what do we do now? And I said, how much do you pay these people every hour? They said, we pay these people on average $50 per hour. And I said, good. I said, type in 80, then times that by 50. And I said, and how many hours of disengagement do you have in your business a day? They said, we've calculated it at 2.5 hours. And I said, good, times that by 2.5 and then press equals. And I said, what does it say? And they said, Daniel, it says $10,000. I said, well, you're losing $10,000 a day because of disengagement in your business. And they looked at me and they went silent. And I said, how does that make you feel? They said, I'm angry. I won't say that word. They said, I'm angry. And I said, good, times it by 5. And they said, why? And I said, because that'll tell you how much you're losing per week. And they said, shit, we're losing $50,000 a week. And I said, good, how many weeks do you operate a year? And they said 48. And I said, good, times that by 48. What does it say? 2.4. And I said, this problem's costing you $2.4 million. And they said, 4-letter word starting with F. And I said, good, you've got a big problem. I've got a solution to solve that problem. Would you like to hear about it? And just like a parachute, poof, their mind opened up. So what you've got to do here is you've got to help the client calculate the cost of not solving this problem. Business owners, you got a $2.4 million problem here every year, and I've got a solution. Would you like to know about it? What do you think every business person's going to say? They're going to say, bloody oath, tell me straight away. I want to hear about it. So you've got to help them calculate the cost of this problem. So it's pretty interesting, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? This is the philosophy. This is the psychology of how to win sales now. And if you download this book, you'll learn all about it. It's a free book. Go and grab it. Won't cost you anything. You can pay me $750 an hour for me to talk you through the book, but I'd just go over there and download it yourself and implement these strategies into your business straight away. So the first question is, what is the problem or pain point your ideal customer wants to solve? Secondly, how does it make them feel? How does that problem make them feel? The third question is, what words and phrases do they use to describe this problem? Now we're moving to the field of quantum linguistics. Very exciting stuff. Then the fourth question is, what is the financial cost of not solving this problem? Now, when you do this, ladies and gentlemen, you do it in conjunction with your client. You tell the client, pick up your phone and you do the numbers. So you want to create engagement in your sales process. Okay, how many people on your team? 80. Good. Type in 80. Good. How much do you pay them per hour? $50 per hour. Good. How much disengagement do you have? 2.5 hours a day. Good. Times that by 2.5. Okay, your problem's costing you $10,000 per day. Shit. Now, that might not seem a lot to you, ladies and gentlemen. So what you do is you say, well, in a week, you're losing $50,000. See how the pain, the level of pain is increasing. But why stop at 50? Why don't you show them a month? Well, you do that for a whole month. You're going to lose $200,000 this month. But what about this year? Oh my gosh, $2.4 million. When the client does the calculation, they feel the pain. But you have to engage them in the sales process. So, what is their financial cost of not solving this problem? ladies and gentlemen, if you're joining me live, don't be a stranger. Say hello. Let me know you're watching this. Let me know you're live and tell me, do you think this is fascinating or do you think I'm just full of shit? If you think I'm full of shit, tell me, and I'll improve these strategies. But I'll tell you what, these strategies I've taught to billion-dollar businesses, and they work immediately. And if they work for $1 billion business, they work for $1 million business. And if you're just starting in business, why not start with the world's best strategies? So just go get my book, Win Sales Now. Download it straight away. It's a free copy. It won't cost you a cent. And you can start to enjoy more sales. So the next question, this is the fifth one. Alyssa, great to see that. It'll absolutely work in your field. And it doesn't matter where we are in the world, ladies and gentlemen. There's a psychology behind selling. It doesn't matter if you're in Africa, Australia, Afghanistan. It doesn't matter if you're in the UAE, the United Kingdom, or the USA. This is the psychology of selling. So what's the next question? The next question is this. You've got to ask yourself, what is the opportunity cost of this problem? So this problem that the client's experiencing, if they don't solve this problem, what is the cost? What is the opportunity cost? Well, I help my clients think through this. Well, if you're a real estate agent and you're losing 5 sales per month and 3 of those are investment properties. Well, first of all, you lose 5 sales. And so let's do this together. If you lose 5 sales a month, you lose 5 referral partners. 5 referral partners can refer you to 30 other people just like them. So the opportunity cost is you're going to lose 5 sales per month. Each of these people could refer you to 30 people just like them. You're losing 150 contacts in your database. Now, if all of those people were going to sell, that would be worth, now we'll times that by $10,000 because that's your average commission. If you just lose 5 sales this month, that equals $30,000 because you miss all the referrals. You miss all the resales. Wow, that's a big problem. Okay. Now, if you're going to be in business over the next 12 months, you want to time that by 12, well, you could be losing $3.6 million this year. Holy moly, I never thought of it like that. And so what you've got to do is you've got to help them understand what is the opportunity cost of this problem. Not just financially, you've also got to do it non-financially. Well, it's the non-financial cost. Every time you lose a customer, what does it do to your self-esteem? It impacts your self-esteem. You start to feel worthless. What happens to your reputation? It spoils your reputation. If you're a real estate agent and you lose 5 signs in your area, you're going to lose face. People are going to stop seeing you and they're going to start seeing your competitor. You're going to become weak. Your competitor's going to become strong. What about in your office? If you keep losing sales, people are going to doubt you. Oh, don't send him out. Don't give him a lead. Interesting, isn't it? What's the opportunity cost? Your job is to help your customer, your prospect, understand the opportunity cost of not solving this problem. So these are the things that you've got to understand for you to win sales now. And if you're joining us live, head over to my website, winsalesnow.com. Download my free ebook. These strategies have been used in billion-dollar businesses, million-dollar businesses. They work for everybody else, which means it'll also work for you. I acquired 500 clients in 1 year applying these exact same methods. And they're free methods, ladies and gentlemen, and you could become a millionaire just by implementing these ideas. So you got some great ideas today, but what I want you to do now is I want you to stop and think. And remember, thinking is the highest paid skill. The reason why people don't get paid a lot of money in life is because they don't know how to think. So I've done the thinking for you, and I just want you to answer a couple of questions. I want you to take pen and paper, and I want you to sit down and ask yourself the final question. What one action are you going to take immediately based on your answers to today's questions so you can win sales now? So what I'd do is I'd go over my website, which is called winsalesnow.com, download your free book and go through all of these exercises. There's 21 chapters with hundreds of strategies for you to double, triple, and probably even quadruple your sale in any market. These are great strategies, ladies and gentlemen. I love them. I've built them off the back of my business. I know they've worked. I've tested each and every one of them. And if you just do what successful people do, you'll get the same result. But if you get this information and you don't apply it, then you'll be worrying about where your next customer is coming from, and you'll be wondering if you'll make enough money to survive. Ladies and gentlemen, you're smart people. Apply these strategies today, and I'll see you soon. By the way, don't be a stranger. If you're stuck and you don't know how to implement these, message me on Facebook and I'll help you implement these personally. Just send me a private message. Ladies and gentlemen, have a wonderful day.